How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to talk to you about some of the top cryptos to buy right now. Some of the top cryptos in the market. Now, I will apologize. I do have a baby right here on my lap, but we're not in the normal setup because of that. Giving the wife a couple minutes off here. But still, I want to go through some of the top cryptos to buy now because I think there are some exciting opportunities out there. And I know there are a lot of people coming back into crypto. I can see it, right? I had almost 100,000 views on an XRP video yesterday. So new people are coming back, or new people are coming in. People are coming back from the previous bear market and bull market, and we also have new money that's going to be flowing in with FTX repayments starting here soon. Now, whether that's this month or next month or the month after, the fact is you want to start researching some cryptos that you think will do well. And I know there are a lot of people that want to allocate as well because maybe they have some capital. So we'll be going through some of the top 10 cryptos, and then I have two smaller caps that I think could do quite well, and I'm invested into them. Actually, maybe even throw in a third. So if you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video if you want to trade crypto. There are a couple links underneath the video to BTCC and to Blofin. I use both of these exchanges. I use a handful of exchanges because you never know when one's going to go down to volatility. And just in general, it is risky to leverage trade, and it's riskier using exchanges as well. So make sure you know what you're doing before opening any positions. But there are links in case you want some deposit bonuses and discounts on trading fees and stuff like that underneath the video. I will apologize too because I don't have all this in front of me right now. So this is like we're sitting down, grabbing a beer, and I have my baby when we're grabbing this beer and just going through some of the top cryptos. And again, we'll get to some lower caps in a little bit. Not much editing too, so apologize for that. But let's start at the top. Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin and crypto are going to be directly tied to the strength of the economy, right? If all of a sudden we go into a recession or worse yet, a depression or something like that, if the labor numbers come in bad this week, or if, if inflation data comes in bad next week, the fact is this is going to affect all of crypto. Right, starting at the top with Bitcoin, we've seen huge inflows. Part of that is there's just been a lot of capital that hasn't been able to flow into Bitcoin yet. And this year is the first year where it's starting to come in. At first, it was a couple years ago with companies starting to buy crypto, buy Bitcoin specifically. Now we're actually seeing a handful of companies go on and buy like Solana and Ethereum onto their balance sheets. But the majority of them are buying Bitcoin. We also have some capital that's going to be unlocked too, just as time goes on, as nations and states and pensions start approving Bitcoin strategies. We're going to see more and more capital flow in. And as this gets priced in, right, let's say you're a hedge fund that's already buying Bitcoin, but then all of a sudden it comes out that the US is going to buy Bitcoin and they're going to buy it for years. The fact is, there's going to be a buyer. So there's really no reason not to go heavier, right? Maybe you have a 5% allocation now or a 3%, 2%. It might make sense to even increase that if we start to see some big entities coming in, right? So there's going to have to be this repricing as more good news like that comes out. And there are a handful of countries and states that are looking at buying Bitcoin or adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, looking at replacing gold a little bit, or looking at mining Bitcoin. Maybe some more pro-crypto laws, less capital gains or no capital gains on Bitcoin. There are a lot of different things that could happen. So I still think it makes sense to allocate towards Bitcoin, especially if, let's say you have $1,000. Let's do this as a scenario. I think you want to weigh it down with Bitcoin. And you also probably want dollar cost average. Like you probably, if you have $1,000 and maybe $200 every pay period, right, to throw out the market, maybe you put in, $300, $400, $500 today, and then maybe another $100 a week or something like that. You might not get the best returns, but will keep you psychologically healthy, because the worst thing as a newer investor is when you either are too scared to put money into the market, or you put all your money into the market and then it dips and then you feel like an idiot, or maybe you sell because you don't have that conviction yet. After years and years of buying crypto and holding crypto, you'll have more conviction. From there, Okay, you're dollar cost averaging, you're buying a little bit of Bitcoin. I still think it makes sense, like I said, to weigh down the portfolio with some Bitcoin because it's going to be here for the long term. Like if there's FUD, you can still hold on to your Bitcoin during bear markets. Like Bitcoin's not going anywhere. So yeah, there might be a dip, but you know that Bitcoin is still going to be something that's going to be healthy and be around, and we're going to get inflows. We're going to get big news. There aren't really countries talking about buying like the 30th crypto down the list. They're talking about Bitcoin, maybe a select few other cryptos, but they're just using those other cryptos, right? So start with Bitcoin. Okay, now moving down the list, the top 10, obviously Ethereum's number 2. It's gotten a bad rap this year, or just not a bad rap even necessarily, but like just no love, right? Not many people buying Ethereum. They're either going Bitcoin or they're going with something faster like Solana. But I think Ethereum's still going to do well during the bull run. Now, do you want like this to be your second largest crypto? I don't know. I think it will outperform Bitcoin a little bit. If you look at the Bitcoin versus Ethereum chart, the fact is Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, Ethereum hasn't performed that well. It's getting a little bit stronger versus Bitcoin over the last week or two, but that's the case with most cryptos because Bitcoin's been kind of stalled out and a lot of altcoins are starting to run. So Ethereum, I think, can go to $8,000, $10,000, something like that. It went up to 4,800 last bull market. So yeah, like falling a little bit short of 10,000 because everyone's going to be eyeing 10,000. I don't think that's crazy. And honestly, if Bitcoin goes up to $250,000, I could see Ethereum doing better than that. Now, again, it's just a question of like how much do you want to put in this? I do think, when you're looking at Ethereum, there's just so much built on it. There's so many people that have applications on it. There's a lot of DeFi. They're not really great for games, but there's a lot built on it, and I think you have to respect it, right? It's not going to be the fastest mover, but it has good mechanics. There will be a lot of Ethereum burned over time. They are still working to make it more efficient, faster, more scalable, that kind of thing. And then let's go down the line. XRP, flipping everything recently and going up to that third spot, actually flipping Tether too. XRP is up 400 or 500% in the last month and has done extremely well. A lot of this is due to Gary Gensler leaving. It's due to people feeling more bullish on altcoins in general, but also we know that the stable coin is coming out in a few days. We know a lot of people are watching the technicals and saying, hey, this thing is skyrocketing. When a crypto does well, it naturally attracts more capital because people want to trade that crypto. They want to go along that crypto. People, when they see it and they're coming back in the market and it's up 300%, they say, I want to buy that. XRP, I think, does have a role in the future too. Like they could solve cross-border payments and transactions and stuff like that, or definitely help with it. They have a lot of good connections. They have a lot of money. And yeah, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO, has talked to people in the Trump administration on like future regulation. So I think you have to respect it. Honestly, I think my XRP allocation is a little bit low right now. Moving down the line, Tether, USDC, we're not really going to hit on that. Just stable coins. I wouldn't do anything yield bearing with those. That can be a dangerous road. So yeah, maybe you take profits, keep in USDT or USDC, or just honestly during the bear market, I'm going to try to take it out of the crypto market. There are reasons why people don't love that, or maybe it's just like it takes a while to load back on depending on how big your portfolio size is. So up to you there. But going down to Solana. Solana, actually, it's performed extremely well since the bear market, going from $8 to $260. Now it's down at $230, $225. I like that it's cooling down a little bit because it's outperformed so much. I mean, it's up 25x, something like that. I don't mind it sitting for a little bit while some other alts run. What you don't want to do is just chase whatever is pumping and then like, okay, XRP is up 400% and then go over to Solana because Solana pumps 100% and XRP doesn't do anything. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, AVAX starts pumping and then you buy that. You don't want to shift around. So like dollar cost averaging into a top layer one like Solana, I think makes a lot of sense. Now, it has performed really well. Keep that in mind that like it's gone up a lot. Can it go to $500, $600 during the bull run? Yeah. Is it going to necessarily? I don't know. Like it's not guaranteed. So, if it goes up to $600, it's done a 75x from the bottom, better than anyone could have expected. So just keep that in mind. I think it does make sense though with a lot of these cryptos. If you have a longer term outlook, it makes sense to dollar cost average over time. And it's still 1/4 the size, 1/3 the size, something like that of Ethereum. Now, moving down the list, BNB, right? And these might be out of order just a little bit, but BNB, very stable, performed very well during the bear market. I think only fell down 65, 70%, something like that. Keep in mind, Binance does have a lot of money. They have a lot of users, so they can go out and buy back their token. They can kind of bid on it if it's hitting a price floor. I think BNB is going to be fine. It's going to go up with the rest of the market. It's going to have like a couple days where it runs really hard, but I'm not really going on my way to buy it. Exchange tokens in general are kind of interesting. Sometimes they give you lower trading fees. So if you want it for like utility, okay, great. Now from there, what's next? Let's go with Dogecoin. Dogecoin, with all this stuff with Elon, it's done really well. Keep in mind too that we've kind of hit a lull. Like we haven't heard much after like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago from the Doge department. We haven't heard much on that, but as inauguration day comes closer, I wouldn't be surprised to hear Elon talk a little bit more about Doge. He's going to be in the news a lot. Trump's going to be in the news a lot. We have another month and a half or so before that happens. So Dogecoin's done really well. It's up at 42 cents. I would not be surprised to see it hit all-time highs maybe in the next few months or something like that. So it's got some juice in it, like pretty easily, I think. And I do think eventually Twitter's going to re-enable payments and crypto payments. Do they use Dogecoin? Definitely possible, right? Along with maybe a couple other cryptocurrencies, maybe a stablecoin, Dogecoin, Solana, and Bitcoin or something like that. I would not be surprised to see that happen. And I think, if you want a dollar cost average into Doge, go for it. Can it take big pullbacks? Yeah, just like everything in the market, it can do that. So just be ready for the long term for that one. But I do think, as the number one meme coin, it's going to do well. I guess speaking of meme coins, Shiba, Pepe, I think those will do well too. I'm saying that a lot, but in general, in bull markets, most things go up. Like in bear markets, maybe 2 or 3 top 20 or 30 cryptocurrencies like do well. In bear markets, like 2 or 3 top 20 cryptocurrencies maybe do poorly or go to zero, kind of towards the end of the bear market if something breaks, or towards the end of the bull market. But just in general, like most of these are probably going to do well. Brett, Pepe, all these probably going to do fairly well during the bear market, or during the bull market. In the bear market, a lot of these cryptos will take big pullbacks. A lot of people are saying now maybe that we won't see a big bear market. Like maybe we just continuously get bids. A lot of that will have to do with the strategic Bitcoin reserve, but don't be surprised, even if we get that, to see a 30% pullback on Bitcoin, 40% pullback at some point, or to see 70, 60% pullbacks on alts, especially if they run really hard. So just be ready for that. I think if you have a 3-4 year outlook, you're probably fine. If you have like a 1 year outlook, you're probably going to still make money, honestly. You're probably still going to make money, but you do want to take profits at some point. Going from there, we hit Doge, maybe AVAX or something like that. AVAX and some of the other layer ones, I think will do well. Again, a rising tide lifts all boats. Layer 2s, I'm a little bit more cautious on, like for Ethereum and Solana. I think at that point, you might as well invest in the layer 1s, at least out of the big ones. One layer 2 it's kind of like a layer 2 that I've been watching is CoreDAO. So that's actually on the Bitcoin network. It's a crypto that DeFi Technologies, a large company, a company that has been publicly traded for years and owns like a conglomerate is like a conglomerate of different crypto companies. They added Solana, CoreDAO, and then Bitcoin to their balance sheet. So I'm watching that. I own some of that, actually. It's one of my larger, like smaller crypto positions. Another smaller crypto that I hold is TARS AI. Now, this is an AI play. It's kind of like an infrastructure play for AI. It's done extremely well. Like it was just at 14 cents a couple weeks ago. It's at 37 cents. I think it was at 40 cents the other day. This is something that I actually hold a pretty good bag of. I bought when it was under $100 million market cap. I think it was around 70 or so. And I bought a couple times actually. Now it's in around 160 million. I think these AI plays will do really well during the bull market. And yeah, TARS AI kind of being in for play, I think will do well too. Price action looks really good. I know they're working with a bunch of influencers too, or a lot of influencers actually own the token. They're not like paying to promote, but they are getting influencers to buy the token. They're pitching it to them, and yeah, people like what they see. Also, another one that I like a lot is Altura. So this is one that Becker talks about, kind of in that gaming AI space. It helps you monetize Web3 and monetize games in general. Another kind of infrastructure play with gaming and AI. This also a smaller market cap. It's not, I want to be careful about saying that. It's not like it's a $5 million market cap. It's 130 million, give or take. So similar to TARS AI, where like it's decent sized. It's in that mid range, so you're not necessarily worried about going away tomorrow. I mean, that can always happen with any crypto, right? But you're not really worried about that. Also, just in general, like I said, like gaming AI is going to do so well. Altura has some of the biggest backers out there. They are a partner of the channel too. I was so excited when they reached out to me because Becker has been working with them for years. I've been researching them for years, and I think they could do really well. Like I said, AI and gaming both undervalued. We're seeing like big runs from some of the top layer ones and Bitcoin, and I think that's going to eventually flow down the line, and we're going to see big moves on some of these smaller cryptocurrencies. But we'll have to continue to see how that occurs over time. Right now, everyone's watching Bitcoin. We're stalling out a little bit. Like I said, Bitcoin dominance coming down a little bit, which I think is a little bit healthy. I don't think you want anything to go one way for too long, whether it's Bitcoin dominance or price. You want to shake some people out. Be ready for manipulation too. Like yesterday, we were at 98,000 on Bitcoin. Everything started to look a little bit too good. And I think there's some manipulation from some of the exchanges, some longs being liquidated, and then some shorts being liquidated because we moved right back up. And then we kind of settled in the middle. Same thing is going to happen with altcoins. XRP running massively today. Don't be surprised if there's some flushes out of that. Like if XRP goes from 280 or 275 down to 220 or $2 or something, that's okay. That's why we dollar cost average. That's why we're looking for the next, 3-4 years. If you're going, like I said, if you're going for the next 1 year, you have to be ready for anything. Be ready for a 50% haircut if it comes down to it. Now, personally, I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe there's a 10-20% chance of that. Some people do think that it's kind of like a barbell right now. There are a lot of people that think this is the blow off top. Like we're seeing XRP move up 400% in 30 days. We're seeing Solana up 60x from, not 60x, 30x from the bottom. Stuff like that. Like we're seeing alts run. We're seeing Bitcoin hit new all-time highs. We're talking about like a strategic Bitcoin reserve. People are talking about never selling. So you have some people that are like, this is the top. On the other side, you have people that are saying, I am never going to sell. Like I need to mortgage my house. I need to mortgage my cars. I need to stop drinking. I need to stop vaping to buy more Bitcoin, to buy more crypto. And honestly, the last two things probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Drinking and giving up vaping, or giving up both of those, I think wouldn't be the worst thing to go buy some more crypto. But like you have a lot of people on either end there. And I think it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen. But the fact is, you're never going to time everything correctly, right? You're never going to be perfect. Whether you're buying, you're never going to be perfect when you sell. The key is to get in, stick to your plan. If you never want to sell, great. Then buy cryptos that are definitely going to be here. You might want to go a little bit heavier on something like Bitcoin and the top alts. If you're going to take profits, if you're planning on flipping, then yeah, it's going to be higher risk, but you might want some Bitcoin still. And then maybe you're going a little bit heavier on alts because you know that, hey, there's going to be, 3x gains in some of these alts, 5x, 10x. Some of these look undervalued. We're going to see stupid runs, but then you also have to be willing to take profits probably a little bit earlier than you're comfortable with, right? Like if you're buying alts, Don't set some arbitrary goal of hitting 10x, right? Let's say you have that $1,000 and you're like, I need 10,000. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make the best risk to reward play every single minute, every single day. Like if you think it's a good value to buy Bitcoin at 95, great. Don't say I'm not going to sell until I hit, a 5x. No, look at the data, look at the news, make educated decisions, because otherwise people will wipe you out, right? If you're looking for some arbitrary number, maybe you are looking at technicals. That's okay. Maybe you're looking at some goal in your mind, and you want, you want to buy a new car with that $10,000. Okay, just don't change your investing to hit those like specific goals too much. Like don't say, well, I need a 10x, so I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin's a great asset. You should be looking at it over the long term, and it can 10x. So just be careful. Try not to be too greedy. Try to make sure that you take profits. Try to make sure that you look for the long term, because yeah, we're looking at the next year. We're looking at the next 6 months and all that. That's great. But also you might want to hold some Bitcoin for the long term, right? If there's even a chance that we have the strategic Bitcoin reserve and we have a couple countries buying hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin a year, you're probably going to want to have a long-term bag. Maybe even consider putting some in a retirement account. That's not something that we talked about here, but maybe you want to buy a little bit of MSTR. The discount has come down, so they bought some more Bitcoin today. I think they're at less than 100% premium. Maybe you want to dollar cost average that a little bit in a Roth IRA or a 401k or something like that. I kind of think of it as leveraged Bitcoin. So they can get cheap debt or free debt. They can also issue shares if the premium goes too high. They can basically arbitrage it, right? Another thing you can do, you can buy miners, right? I have been a little bit careful about that because I think that countries will probably start mining heavier after they start buying Bitcoin, and they have unlimited resources and cash, and they don't really care too much about the price of mining, so they can do it illogically, right? They can lose money to buy more Bitcoin to hit certain goals, and a lot of companies can't do that. The countries can remain irrational longer than the companies can remain solvent. So I do have some miners now, but I'll probably be trying to get out of that a little bit earlier during this bull market instead of trying to wait for the exact top on Bitcoin. You can also do like options plays and stuff like that on miners, which is like leverage on leverage. It's pretty risky. I have done that before. So I did buy some Clean Spark calls a while ago. It was when we had some big crashes into the 50,000s on Bitcoin, and they've done fairly well. Now, I could have gotten almost the same return just buying Bitcoin, because the fact is they have time decay. So yeah, I'm looking to unload those soon. Also, you can just buy the ETFs. Like if you're someone that doesn't really trust yourself to cold storage, and you have like a decent amount of money, and you don't want to leave it on an exchange, then go for it. Like buy some IBIT or buy something in a retirement account and take advantage of that, because the cool thing about that is you can take profits and you don't have to pay taxes. So if you're swing trading or something like that, great. You don't have to pay 30, 40% taxes on short-term capital gains. You don't have to pay 15% on long-term capital gains and all that. So it can be a really strong tool over time to do that. And then I do think it makes sense to have some in a brokerage, because, if Bitcoin goes up to 5 million in a couple of years, or in 10 years, 15 years, and let's say you're 30, do you want to wait until you're 60 to access some of that? Now, maybe at that point, you just take the penalty, take 10% penalty, pay the taxes on it. But like maybe you want some in a brokerage as well. Maybe you want to be able to take some loans against it. That's going to be available, right? And I'm talking about like taking loans on IBIT, or, selling some call options, right? Let's say Bitcoin all of a sudden spikes up to, I don't know, maybe it's $300,000, $400,000 a year from now. And then all of a sudden it spikes up to 800,000. And you're like, I can make 80 grand overnight and trim my position a little bit from selling some calls. Maybe you look at that, right? There are all different kinds of scenarios, but I think how I've approached it is I want to spread it around. I want some ETFs. I want some levered plays, like literally leverage on some different exchanges. I want levered plays in Bitcoin miners and also in MicroStrategy. I want some cold hard Bitcoin on cold storage. I want all of that because all of them are like tools that you can use at different times that I think can be really beneficial. If you're investing in this market, you're probably going to do really well. So just temper your expectations, right? We're not going to time it perfectly buying. We're not going to time it perfectly selling. But if you get a 3x, 4x, 5x, like you're going to do great. A lot of us are up 5x on some of our Bitcoin buys, right? 4x, 5x, that is fantastic. A 4x takes 20 years in the stock market. So if you're in this market, if you've been in it, great. If you're new, just take a breath, right? There's always going to be another thing that runs. So don't feel like you need to automatically jump into something. That's something I did last cycle. Like I kept on learning about new cryptos and I kept on buying new cryptos. I had maybe 30 cryptos at one point. I'm at like maybe 10 cryptos right now. And I'm pretty heavy in maybe 5 or 6. So just like stay focused. Your crypto will pump at some point, most likely. Just stay focused, breathe. You don't have to chase anything. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. If you want to see future videos like this, I am making them every day. Even with the baby here, I'm going to be making videos every single day because there's so much going on in this market. It might just be, impromptu videos like this where I'm sitting on the couch talking literally for almost 30 minutes on my phone. Hopefully, the sound's recording and all that kind of stuff. This would be terrible if it wasn't. But if you want to trade crypto, like I said, there are links underneath the video to Blofin, to BTCC. Make sure you know what you're doing, again, because you can lose everything leverage trading. You can lose everything on exchanges in general. They change rules. Sometimes exchanges go bankrupt, so just be careful out there. I have a couple % of my bags on exchanges trading, but then after I take profits, I do withdraw it some of the time too. Some of the time I just leave it on there until the next trade. But yeah, at the end of the cycle, I'm taking a lot off exchanges, pretty much everything. I'm gonna be selling a lot of the altcoins too. I'm gonna be keeping some Bitcoin, selling all my altcoins pretty much throughout this bull market. But as always, there's only one rule. Hit subscribe for future videos. Hit the like button if you want to see future videos like this. It lets me know that you like these videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.